The topic of this video is we need more societal fathers. What do I mean by that? A societal father. What I mean is someone who is capable of holding a safe and healthy masculine containment, a healthy masculine frame holder. And the more we have people with this capability, the more healing effect the whole human collective will feel, both the feminine and the masculine too. Because every time you can hold a masculine frame in a situation, in a context, environment, conditions, when, let's say, people get emotionally triggered and reactive, but you're able to stay calm, you're able to stay in your masculine polarity, you're able to provide a safe container and space where these other, let's say, reactive people can be held, be seen, and process out their insecurities, their emotional storms. But you stay grounded and you help them to get grounded again, and your presence is directive. You help them to navigate through this emotional storm. You help them to arrive back at the peace and just be like a guiding light. Every time you're able to do that for someone, it's not only healing for that someone, for that person who is in a emotionally reactive, triggered state, but it's also healing for the whole collective of feminine, especially, who has been suppressed a lot, centuries and centuries. Collective feminine has been living in a state of fear and survival for a long time. And there has been like lack of trust, genuine trust, but rather living from a fear. This is just not for the collective feminine, also the masculines as well. So this can be very, very beneficial and transformative experience, not just for one individual, but for the whole collective, because every time someone can hold space for this and not getting triggered by someone who is triggered, like this presence can be very healing and transformative. This is like a small ripple effect. Every time this happens, this gives signal to the whole collective consciousness, human collective, that this is possible, this is reality, this can happen. So the other masculines can rise to the divine masculine, and we can allow the divine masculine to come online more and more and to spread throughout the world and expand. This starts to become a more powerful and more realistic reference point for more and more individuals, because there is also law of resonance, and when one individual changes, his frequency changes, his energy changes, he can start to impact the whole field. So the other people start to join him and it spreads. The key, let's say, when there is a confrontation or someone gets triggered with you, is to stay calm and not allow yourself to be dragged also in a reactive emotional state. Because if someone gets triggered, that automatically means they're out of the masculine polarity, they're in their feminine. They're feminine, at the mercy of the emotions in that moment. And they need the counterbalancing force, grounding force. helps them to ground, get out of the emotional storm. And if in that moment someone's triggers or reactivity triggers your triggers, or activates your reactivity, then you're both are in your feminines, and none of you can hold space for each other. Like, you're both in the chaos mode, and there is no space for containment and grounding in that moment. And this chaos just spirals and spirals and escalates, and things get out of control, you know. So it's very beneficial if one can stay in the masculine polarity while, let's say, other is like experiencing this emotional storms. Not so long ago, I also had a confrontation, not something that I intended to spark, but it happened. A person approached me, and he got highly triggered by my actions, what I said to his friend, and apparently that triggered him hard, and he became extremely angry with me. Not the first time that the anger was directed and projected towards me, and this person even reached a point where it was 50-50, you know. There came threats that he would harm me in the future, asked me to go outside and fight and that kind of stuff. What was essential for me in that moment, I immediately recognized, okay, he's emotional, he's triggered, he's in the feminine. He needs someone who can hold his emotions. Because in that moment, no matter what I would say, no arguing would help. Because when someone is highly triggered in their emotions becomes their whole reality, and the filter or the lens that they view everything through, those emotions. No matter how illogical they are, emotions are more powerful than the facts or the some other arguments. So in that moment, in order to be able to hold the space appropriately, it's important to meet those people where their emotions are, and not try to convince them or to force them into some other truth, because they have a resistance, and they will resist even more, because when they are under the influence of their emotions, they will just fight with everything that they have to protect their perspective, because they can't separate themselves from their emotions. They feel that that's part of their identity, and they need to protect that at all costs, to be seen and validated. So in that moment, what I did was I kept calm. I was calm. I validated that person. Yeah, I understand. I see how you can feel upset about this, what I did. Yeah, these emotions are valid right now. They are valid. Not necessarily his, emotional perspective is true, but it's still valid because he feels that in the moment. So it was very important to hold that space and not feel threatened by that, and eventually that de-escalated the situation, calmed down, and the next day the same person approached me and came to me from a completely different place, yesterday didn't happen. Every time when someone is in a highly emotionally reactive state, you can recognize that there is a scared child inside who feels threatened somehow. Because if someone, let's say, is often angry with you, anger is a cover emotion for feeling disempowered. And so the anger sparks up this defensive reaction that they take, because people perceive that their needs and desires are being threatened. And they might be, let's say, interfered with your behavior or your actions, even if you didn't intend to. But yeah, that can spark this anger, and then it's helpful to stay grounded and calm. I'm not talking about like super extreme cases where like you know that this person is like extremely unstable and it's like no matter what I do, like he's gone too far and he's going to like do something to hurt you. Then you need to protect yourself, and then you like need to resort to some like other measures. But every time someone like gets angry and threatens you, like he's a scared child and he's operating from the place of survival mode and scarcity, and they need reassurance. But what comes into my mind is also a research that was done in animal kingdom regarding elephants, because there was cases where young elephant bulls would like go crazy and rampage, harm other like animals in their environment, even kill, like basically go out of control completely, until older elephant bull was relocated to their location, inserted in the same environment, and that immediately created like a calming present effect. So the younger bulls would calm down by this older elephant, and yeah, that would just help them to be more at ease, and situation would be under control. What helps you to hold space for other people who get like emotionally reactive is when you work obviously on your own emotional reactivity and your own wounds, so those can be healed layers by layers, so that when next time someone gets triggered, you stay more grounded, more calm, and becomes way more difficult to pull you into the same like emotional disturbance that used to cause you to get triggered in the past. When we can remain present, doesn't mean that we doesn't feel anything inside. We do, but when we can stay present, we become a very powerful frequency holders for the world. And when we stay calm, it also doesn't mean that we need to allow ourselves to be other people's punching bag all the time. Yeah? Sometimes they need a bag so they can just punch a little bit, but that's not the default setting that we need to remain at all times when something happens, because sometimes we also need to like communicate like a clear boundaries, not even just to communicate but also act on them. What might happen when you hold your masculine frame is initially that can cause or trigger resistance in other people, rejection, and even resentment to you, to your boundaries, to your directing energy, your guiding energy. But later on, once they calm down, they can recognize that actually how you showed up was a good thing. Every time someone is able to hold space for you while you're under the emotional disturbances, that also gives signal to your inner child that you can risk open up more and more and more, you know, because most of us in our childhoods, we didn't experience like emotional safety at all. For most of us, it was emotional neglect. So this can be like literally like transformative 180 experience. It's like, oh my God, like I yelled at him, but he didn't like yell back or anything, you know, like it's very powerful. It's a very powerful experience. As a collective, we need desperately emotional healing, and this is one of the ways how we can provide this to each other. Let me know in comment sections below, what are your thoughts about masculine frame, and have you had an opportunity and experience where you were able to hold a healthy masculine frame for other, or you experienced when someone else held a safe space for you. Thank you for watching and listening, and let's heal together, and yeah, let's support others and offer our assistance.